Today marks the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedoms organized by A. Philip Randolph and the featured and keynote speaker, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who uttered the words, "I have a dream." And that speech has gone on to become one of the great speeches of planet Earth. And today is the commemoration of that speech by a large number of people. The only person who spoke on August the 28th, 1963, yet alive, is Congressman John Lewis. But the featured speaker today will be Barack Hussein Obama, a man with a wholly and completely Muslim name. I'm convinced that if Dr. King heard the name Barack Hussein Obama 50 years ago, he would have ran for his Bible and his daddy because there would have been a Muslim invasion. I'm convinced that if Dr. King in 1963 knew of Muslims, black Muslims, and others like the Nation of Islam, that he was abhorred by their very existence and understood that Islam was a threat to Christianity and would never accept anyone with a name such as Barack Hussein Obama. So I'm determined to state now that where we are at present, 50 years after the speech, these are the best of the worst years, because it's only going to get progressively worse from here as we look at the present set of circumstances. And the speech was not for white America or for America in general. I Have a Dream was indeed a very racist, if you will, at the time, needed speech because of the pervasiveness of segregation. 100 years after the Emancipation Proclamation by the 16th President of America, Abraham Lincoln, black people were still marching for freedom. 100 years later, after the emancipation, blacks were not free, or at least in their minds they were not, and so they felt that they needed to be able to march for freedom. I want to again state that these are 150 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. Blacks are still marching for jobs and for freedom. But let me add a statement that most people who believe that they have some ability to social engineer where blacks and whites and where America ought to go economically, socially, politically, and otherwise would reject out of hand, and they will not allow such a statement of emphatic truth to be noised abroad. And that is this, my friends: black people are incorrigible. They are beyond bizarre in their belief systems, their understanding, their skills at social development. They have gone from bad people during the early 60s to worse people throughout the 80s and the 90s, to absolutely horrible people in the year 2013. They are beyond bizarre and incorrigible in terms of interpreting the social way in which to take advantage of the Emancipation Proclamation or the works of Dr. King or the Great Society by Lyndon Baines Johnson or any other efforts made on behalf of just average everyday Americans who are white or otherwise, who in their Christian beliefs or constitutional beliefs or their commitments to humanity to try to uplift black people have found that rather than them becoming a better people, they have actually become a bizarre, incorrigible, almost, if you will, enigma in terms of all of the people that walk the planet Earth. So, having said that, I want to also reference the fact that many will tout in the misleading of the American people about the importance of this day that blacks have now arrived by having a black president. And so that obviously represents a great leap and a great sign of accomplishments of Dr. King's speech in the presence of Barack Hussein Obama. Obama. Again, nothing could be further from the truth. And I can't think of anything at all that Obama stands for that Dr. King would stand for. I can't believe that Dr. King would be for the rampant runaway abortions. I can't believe that Dr. King would stand up in a speech to the international world and say he would want his daughter Yolanda, a Bernice King, to get an abortion. I can't believe that Dr. King would stand up and say that gay people and black people are struggling through the same kinds of struggles, and they are one and the same in terms of how God has made them. I can't believe that Dr. King would be about that. I can't believe that Dr. King would have getting ready to invade Syria and would invade Afghanistan. I can't believe that he would have supported the overthrow of Muammar Gaddafi. I can't believe that Dr. King would respect Barack Obama's 2009 Nobel Prize for Peace, having done absolutely nothing to receive it after Dr. King had been stabbed, had gone to jail, had been beaten, had been watered down with water hoses, had been talked about when he finally stood on that stage to receive his Nobel Prize for Peace, and yet the long-legged Mac Daddy gets one just because. I can't believe that Dr. King would respect that. And I'm going to take one step further as well, because the media will lie to you. They're going to mislead you. They're going to say this is accomplishment, that blacks are doing better now, and it's all because, and Obama is the utopia or the epitome of Dr. King's revelation and dream. They're going to mislead you all day long, and for all the balance of the week, and all the pundits and all the talking heads are going to do nothing but mislead you. They're not going to go anywhere near the truth about the things that I just said in terms of comparison of who Dr. King was and who Obama is. But the other thing is, I cannot believe that Dr. King, who had struggled so long and watched his mother and watched his wife and watched the wives and mothers of so many raised up there in Georgia, would have accepted the fact that Obama has a white mama. Now, you know, this is something that is absolutely critical, and I'm not going to let drop, because I think that the black woman needs to be honored. When you've got, after 50 years of Dr. King, you've got people like Jay-Z who can make a song called Big Pimpin', and 50 years after, our black youth, rather than getting medical degrees from Harvard or from Fisk or from Hampton and law degrees and doing great things from the institutions, Tuskegee and others, that they are making millions of dollars calling the black woman a bitch and a hoe. I can't believe that Dr. King would have anything to do with Jay-Z or Beyonce or any of these other vile-mouthed millionaires praised by the NAACP and others. But going back to the original point of, if you were looking at 50 years of remembrance, I cannot believe that Dr. King would accept Obama as being black. I can't believe it. He was killed in 1968. You can say the mores were different and things are different now, and I'll give you that. But I can tell you this, had you presented Obama with an African father and a white mama, I don't believe that he would have accepted it. Not because Dr. King was a racist. No. Please don't misunderstand me. I believe that Dr. King would say, no, we need to honor the black woman. She has struggled. She's borne our burden. She's given birth to our children. She's worked from morning to night and middle of the night, taking care of our babies. She's paid the bills. She's hit us when the man came looking for us. She's struggled. She's gone barefoot and in the kitchen and pregnant. And the black woman, if we're going to have a black president, we need to have the honor of a black woman. That black president needs to come from the feet of between the feet of a black woman. I can't believe that Dr. King would so willy-nilly pass up the black woman as a totality and accept the birth of the first black president coming from between the feet of a white woman. I can't believe that. And I can tell you this, back in 1953 and 1963, that if Dr. King had had a white mama, he wouldn't be Dr. King. He wouldn't have had a dream. He would not have had any of the speeches, and we wouldn't be talking about it today. So my thing thing is this, and neither am I a racist. It's just that, well, if we're going to talk about black, and that's what you want to do, then I am amazed at how quickly black people can forget, and how quickly they can abdicate and throw the black woman as a totality under the bus. We need to raise up our black sisters and not call them bitches and hoes like Jay-Z and 50 Cent and all these other low-life, foul-mouthed, so-called millionaires. We need to raise the sister up. We need to tell about her blackness. And I can tell you now, every time we look at the picture of Obama's family, which most people in media and every place else in the history books, they really are ashamed of it. They're ashamed of the fact that his mother is white. They're ashamed of it because it's something to be ashamed of if you're going to reference him as the first black president. But wouldn't it be wonderful to see a black woman, a beautiful black queen, a beautiful woman who's black, and a beautiful father who's black, presenting the first black president of the United States of America? No, my friends, this what is now in the person of Obama is nothing more than a misfit. It's nothing more than the alter ego of the fact that most blacks who have the ability to steer the engineering of the social direction of black people want to be white themselves. They are self-loathers. They do everything. They want to go to white schools. They want to live in white neighborhoods. And as I said on yesterday, they keep preaching if we can just get another raise and get another corner office. We who are a black couple living in a white neighborhood with our children going to white private schools, and we're driving white cars and eating white restaurants, that won't be long before we're going to be white. Thank God Almighty, we are white at last. And those are the ones that give direction. You're not getting this from the hood. You're not getting this from the people that walk the streets of the ghettos black day every day. It's the import of those pensionos Negroes who want to be white, that have accepted Obama's white mama. And so this is not a racist statement. It is simply a simple statement of fact. If you're going to talk about Obama being black, then being the black president, then we need to talk about the fact that his mother is a white woman. All right, I've said that. Obama, were reparations to be handed out to black Americans, the criteria for that would be that you either have been a slave or your mother or father had been a slave, or your mother or father or grandfather or somewhere in your ancestry going back 200 years was a slave, therefore you could get paid reparations. Obama wouldn't qualify because his mother, neither his father would qualify him, or his grandmother or his grandfather. His mother's side, however, would qualify him as a family that once owned slaves. Obama's white mama once owned, her ancestry once owned slaves. So you see how sick this is. I mean, it's sicker than sick. That's not the real issue here today. The real issue here today is 50 years after Dr. King's speech, 50 years after that, we've got 1.2 million black men in prison, where we didn't have more than 50,000 in prison in 1963. We've got 400,000 black men going to prison every year, when we didn't have 4,000 going in 1963. 30 black people will be killed today somewhere across America by another black person. 80% of the homes in America today that are black are either broken homes or single parent homes, where back in 1963, 95% of the homes had a husband and a father and a male snoring in the bedroom at night. We have a breakdown today that is what I'm now referring to as the best of the worst years, because it's only going to get worse from here. You're not going to see an uplift in black. And it's partially because due to the fact that you got the pinch-nosed Negroes who's telling the Negroes in the hood. Now, if this was going back 200 years ago, you would be called the pinch-nosed Negroes, the house Negroes, and the Negroes in the hood, you would call them the field Negroes. So you got the pinch-nosed Negroes giving the Negroes in the hood the idea that it's all right to have a Obama who's for the unnatural act of gay interaction, gay marriage. He's for the telling his daughters and children to get an abortion. He's a phony from way back when. He even has a Muslim name. There's no lineage. There's no family lineage. There's no Johnson or Smith or any of the Browns or the Williams, the names that have been tradition that would reference the struggles of blacks taking the name of the plantation owner going back years ago. Obama has a Muslim name and is indeed a Muslim at heart and spirit. So we're going down from here. Today represents the 50th anniversary of the best of the worst years. Next year, this time, the black society will be worse than it is today. And a year from now, 2 years from now, it's only going to get increasingly worse until blacks are no longer functioning in American society and on their slave ships, reversing the Middle Passage and back to Africa, where they might be planted someplace and hidden away from the scourge that they are now in American society. So my take on this 50th anniversary is that it's all a farce. And everything you see on television is going to be a lie. It's going to be a social engineering misrepresentation of the truth. If I can have this little, if you will, addendum. Understand that CNN is losing in the ratings, and so is MSNBC. They are the biggest liars, the biggest social engineers, perhaps more guilty of leading these pensioner's Negroes to power to destroy the Negroes in the hood. And so I'm delighted that they're losing in ratings and can't wait until they finally close their doors. But my friends, these, for black people, and the racist speech, I'll do it perhaps necessary that Dr. King gave 50 years ago, are the worst of the best of the worst years.
All true, all the time, the Manning report is sure to blow your mind. Just let me hear you sing. He's gonna make your day. Just listen to the